Three men and a multiverse of sci-fi's finest spacecraft, but which ones can claim to be the greatest ships ever? Welcome to Space Doc Jury.
Hello and welcome to Space Doc Jury episode 2. Yes, anyway, episode 2. I'm Lee and I am bringing this week the White Star.
And I'm Andy, and this week I have the Mercury-class Battlestar Pegasus.
And I'm Peter, and I'm bringing the USS Defiant.
Ah, the age-old battle, as old as time. B5 versus DS9. And
all we need is the Falcon, and we could have like the ultimate freeway there.
Look, we established in episode 0 what Peter feels about three ways. Don't start him up again. He hasn't had his beer and his just calm it down. Anyway, so yes, welcome to Space Doc Jury episode 2. For those of you who have just joined us, because obviously we are still a new cast, this is a podcast where we basically geek out about spaceships. All manner of them, from books, TVs, films, and games.
Comics.
And comics, of course, yeah.
Anything.
And basically we will argue them based on a set of stats, which are constantly evolving. And, of course, we'll see if they go up on our top 10, our cool wall, if you like. Anyway, let's get on with this week's set of ships. Now, as is tradition, whoever lost last time gets to go first this time. So, Andy, over to you.
Yes, I lost. So did you, but yes, I will go first in this instance.
Yeah, go for it.
And this week, I'm bringing the Battlestar Pegasus, BSG 62. This was a Mercury-class Battlestar under the command of Admiral Kane, and along with Galactica, one of only 2 Battlestars to survive the Cylon massacre. She is armed with 68 ballistic weapons mounted in 34 primary batteries. These fire projectiles the size of a VW Beetle. I don't think they're actually VW Beetles. I think they're just size, but I was told to include that tidbit of information, so there you go.
Beetle Cylon bastard.
Yes. Well, those things are now indestructible, so I mean, you know, I can see him firing at the Cylon with some damage.
I just got this vision.
Herbie!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Herbie's Big Adventure.
As he's flying through, as a missile's flying through space, just before it hits the Cylon ship, it's like
smack. Yes. Anyway, she's also fitted with innumerable point defense guns, which create a flak protection screen against enemy fighters and missiles. She's also armed with a range of nuclear ordnance. Now, I'm not entirely sure how much she carried. It's never directly referenced, but she did carry enough to resupply Galactica with 4 nukes, and I really can't see Admiral Kane diminishing the fighting potential of her ship for Adama, so we can assume it was more than that. Now, the nukes in Battlestar, we don't really get a sense. Galactica gets hit by one, and there's a massive fire, and people die. They destroy the cities quite effectively. Pegasus gets hit by a few, and it just kind of goes, yeah. But anyway, Galactica encountered the Pegasus. She carried 50 Raptors and 200 Mark 7 Vipers, arranged into 10 squadrons. Dialogue from Admiral Kane suggests that they had lost over half of their fighters and recon craft, so we can assume that the standard loadout for a Mercury class would be at least double that. Pegasus does have production facilities to produce replacement fighters with basic resources, and once she arrives as part of a ragtag fleet, she begins producing new ships for both Pegasus and Galactica, which was just a fancy way of saying, unlike Voyager, where they just kept producing new shuttles when they needed them, this explains why they kept making Vipers. Typically had a crew of 2,500, but could operate with as little as 1,500 after she escaped the Scorpia shipyards. By comparison, the Galactica has a crew of 5,000. This is down to the high level of automation and network computers, which, amongst other things, allow the weapons to operate automatically, while Galacticas are all manned. She's a tough ship. She received numerous nuclear attacks against her and shrugs them off. During the Battle of New Caprica, she holds off 4 base stars, allowing the Galactica and Ragtag fleet to escape. And then once she was damaged beyond repair, she rams one of the surviving base stars and manages to destroy another one with pieces of debris flying off and ramming into it. Which, while a cool effect, I really want to rant about how fucking stupid that whole thing was.
No,
I mean, you sacrificed. I'm sorry. I'll save that for another time.
Excuse me. Yeah, you can. This is the only time I'm going into bat for you, mate. I'm going to stop you there because that is the coolest scene in that whole show. That whole
it is
thing.
Fucking cool.
So no, stop.
I won't go into that. I will stop. I'll stop. Okay. Just a brief little bit about behind the scenes. They kind of lucked into being able to have the Pegasus be part of Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined series. There was another series being produced at the same time. I think it was a reboot of Lost in Space, and I think it was John Woo directing it. Anyway, they went as far as making a single episode and then cancelled it, which allowed Ron Moore and David Icke to go in and buy all the sets for tuppence halfpenny. Was the at the time, because they couldn't afford to produce new sets on the budget, so they had these new sets for the ship and allowed them to do the new Battlestar. The exterior design was supposed to much more closely resemble the original Battlestar. I think this was partly as a response to pushback from some of the, quote, fans, end quote, at the new design of the Galactica, which was a much more ribbed for her pleasure affair, as it were. Also, the much harder angles were a deliberate design choice to show the harder edge of Admiral Kane and the crew, to kind of just invoke this sense of they were battle-hardened, I suppose, more abrasive, so forth. Her pods don't retract like the Galacticas do, but she does have cool inverted flight pods underneath the upper ones. So when the fighters are coming in, some of them can land upside down, others land the right way up. Although I have no idea how, if you're on the upside down one, you're then meant to get about, all of a sudden you're stuck upside down for the rest of the week.
Do not have lunch before leaving.
Hello, I'm stuck. I'm upside down.
All the blood's rushing to my head.
Yeah, help. Oh, I'm feeling a bit lighthearted. Lightheaded even. But anyway, yes. So there you have the Battlestar Pegasus.
Can we just take a moment?
Yeah.
You've mentioned Admiral Kane, Michelle Forbes.
A moment for Michelle Forbes. Oh yes.
But can we also take one moment to lament the fact that Lloyd Bridges was not flying it this time round?
Yes, it looks like he picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. I mean, in any incarnation, the Pegasus was always a fucking cool ship. And I love in the original series, it's just how gung-ho Lloyd Bridges is.
Yeah.
Again, when he blows up that thing and, were you shooting at a fighter, sir? I didn't see one. Really? It was as bright as day to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that is the Battlestar Pegasus from the New Galactica. Tough little ship, big bastard. Let's face it, it's another fucking flying brick in space. But I like my bricks.
Well, in fairness to you, it does have a curve on the front, so it's kind of different from all the other bricks that you've been bringing up to the last couple of weeks. So, okay then. Well, then hit us with some stats, and just for everyone's reference, we will not be taking any stats or any information from anything on the Facebook group at the moment. We are still working through trying to get these figures down, so we're just adapting slowly.
Yes. We are like the Borg. We're adapting, but we've got to lose a few drones along the way.
Yes, exactly. So we're sticking to the plan at the moment, but we're
sticking to the plan. But don't worry, I sense an argument in our not too distant future. Anyway, shall we start off with size, shall we? That's a nice and easy quantifiable one, isn't it? So she has a length of 5,872 feet, or 1,789 meters in new money. She's only a little bit longer than Galactica. Hang about, let me pull up. How long is Galactica by comparison? Galactica is 4,740 feet, but Pegasus is a much stockier, bulkier ship. I think she has about twice the mass of Galactica.
Yeah.
She's just a much heftier ship, sort of thing, much more hunkered down. sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, the size there, she is about the sort of size of a Imperial Star Destroyer. We're in that sort of ballpark there.
Okay. So what are you touting for on this? I mean,
Well, using convention that we have established thus far, using Omega and Odyssey and that sort of thing, I'm thinking about an 8.
about an 8. I thought we settled on a 7 last time.
No, we went on an 8 because when you get to
9, you're in
9, Super Star Destroyers, and then when you get to 10, you're in your Death Stars. There's basically 9 and 10s are a big step up. You know, it's when you get to the 9s, you've got to be multi-kilometer long.
Okay, so it's bell curves.
10s, yeah, it's that sort of thing. It's we're probably going to find that if someone brings a ship like the Super Star Destroyer, it's going to get the 9 just because that thing's fucking 17 kilometers long.
Okay. All right then. Well, what do you think, Pete?
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess that seems fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do me any favors here, guys. You know.
Not the point, mate. We're supposed to have this argument. I mean,
no. We're supposed to have the argument coming up in a moment.
Yeah. Well, that happens in a minute. Yeah. But right. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can't argue it because I mean we've set the tone for the others, haven't we? Really. I suppose if you're looking at a Star Destroyer being an 8. I could have sworn we said
Imperial
7.
Star Destroyer, you know, again, we've established that is kind of like our definitive big ship, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
A New Hope opening thing. That is our big ship. 9 and 10, as you've said in the past, are the exceptional ones. They're the ones which are beyond big.
Yeah, that's true.
So if we're coming in at about an 8 for Star Destroyer sort of thing, I think, you know, that's fine. Because then when you go into 9 and 10, we are talking those exceptionally, you know, they're like, fuck off, humongous.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Yeah, they've got their own atmosphere kind of things.
But pretty much.
Yeah.
It's sort of, you know, when they crash on a planet, they effectively destroy the planet.
Yeah, nice. Mega Maid from
yeah, Mega Maid, if for God forgive us, we ever get around to doing that, it's probably going to be a 9. Okay.
Okay, just for future reference, everyone. Okay, then I suppose.
Future reference, we're not doing Mega Maid, but
No.
if we were, that's where it would be.
Okay, well, 8 it is, I guess. Go on in.
Okay. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. In the red corner, representing your traditional viewpoint, that you've got to go around the track like Usain Bolt. Lee Metcalf, advocating for speed being the definitive measure. And in the blue corner, representing the thought that it doesn't matter how quickly you go for, if you shorten the distance, you're still getting at your destination quicker, is me, with point-to-point light speed.
Okay, so we're measuring speed, right?
We're measuring speed. We're down to the assignment of speed.
Oh, God, so what are you after for speed?
You know what? I want 8.
You want 8?
I want 8. Do you know why I want 8?
Yeah, I would like to
The
know.
ship can instantly travel between 2 points in space instantaneously. It goes from here to here in an instant. Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. It's like I can be from here and now I'm there. Just like that.
But you haven't moved.
No, I have moved. I was here and now I'm there.
Yes.
And how easily have you done that, Andy?
Just like that. Just like that.
How?
Just like that, on
Just
a
like
regular
that.
basis, on a, you know,
There are
drop the
limitations.
hats.
There are limitations to the Battlestar FTLs.
Yeah.
They are infinite range.
Yeah, but that's not. But
And
range-
let me finish. They're not infinite range, and they require 33 minutes to recharge.
okay.
So you can't jump non-stop. You can't go jump. You got to jump. You got to let your engines recharge. It takes 33 minutes.
You see, this is all lovely.
So every half hour, it's very fast indeed. But that's every half hour.
But you know what?
For the rest of the time, it trundles along like a
Exactly.
limping horse.
Yeah, but I can get from one side of the galaxy to the other in an instant.
2 hours later.
There is an unquantifiable range limitation on it because they mention in the first episode there's a red line. Now, Galactica jumped beyond that red line. I'm not sure what the red line refers to. Is it a case of if you go further, if you're plotting over further distances, are your equations less accurate, sort of thing? Because we know from the Razor one, if you blind jump, and we get this in Star Wars as well, without your navigational computer, you could accidentally end up inside the middle of a star or a quasar or something like that. So you have to be able to effectively plot where you're going to end up at.
You see, we're back to this whole thing, right? Okay, here we go. In the blue corner is me, right? Now, the thing is, when Pegasus launches its fighters,
Right.
do the fighters trundle alongside it? Or do they overtake it?
They generally overtake it.
Oh, right. So the fighters go faster than the ship.
At sublight speeds, yes, they do.
No, because that's the thing. It's the speed of the ship.
No, it's not the speed of a ship. The ship is capable of FTL, faster than light. The ship has jump engines, and she can jump from one location to another location. She travels from one location to another location.
But if it's instantaneous, what you're saying is you should say that if it's instantaneous, it should be a 10. Because
I'm not saying it should be 10 because, as I've acknowledged, there are limitations to this. She cannot go infinite distance, and they cannot just jump one after the other. I'm actually taking points away from myself to acknowledge these limitations.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, how very humble.
2,000 years later.
Taking an average speed.
Well, I think we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
I think we're not, sir.
Well, the thing is, you see, with the bear in mind that the precedent you're about to set, Andy, if you manage to convince us on this, you're about to
on the wrong side of history.
You are basically going to fuck yourself because the White Star can go into one of these things and do a jump and go faster than light, just like you say, and do it indefinitely. So what am I going to give that, a 9?
No, if a jump star can open up a jump gate and enter into warp space or hyperspace or whatever the fuck you call it. But again, it takes time to travel between the systems still in hyperspace, does it not?
But hold on. By your own rules, I'm just setting this out now because if you're setting this out, I'm going to take it to its logical conclusion. If the ship,
you're going to take it to the absurd conclusion, but do carry on.
No, if a White Star could, in theory, go into a jump gate, right, and traverse the entire galaxy, in one jump, and presumably only take a couple of hours to do it.
Okay, let me put it to you.
So the White Star is a 9.
Yeah.
The White Star's a 9. White Star's a 10.
It's not. It's not a 9, and I'll tell you why it's not a 9.
Okay.
The Pegasus and the Galactica, when they jump, okay, Galactica will put her pods in and go, and then they go, jump, and there's a sound, and then she's there. With the White Star, you open your jump point, you fly in, and then you travel through hyperspace to get to your point. You have to travel through hyperspace to get there. Galactica and Pegasus, it's instantaneous. It is, I was here, now I'm there. With Babylon 5 and its jump gates, we've entered subspace. We are traversing much, much greater distances more quickly than we could do conventionally, but you'll still have to traverse that distance, and then you arrive. And if it wasn't that case, you would never have seen that lovely red, glowy, hellish sort of space where ships get lost and the shadows hide.
Mm-hmm.
See, because now because the thing is, what you're doing here is you're basically saying, okay, instantaneous jump, and then you got to wait 33 minutes, and then in the 33 minutes, the ship is so utterly slow that it can be overtaken by absolutely anything. So, in theory, the White Star could jump the exact same distance. Might take a little bit longer to get to the same point, but then will carry on, overtake your ship, and then jump again instantaneously. In a race, in a point-to-point race, the White Star wins. The Defiant wins.
No, but White Star does require to recharge its jump engines as well. Yeah,
to go in and out of jump. But it doesn't take a long time. It doesn't take 33 minutes. In fact, I think in the one when they open up the jump gates and kill the shadow ship in Jupiter's atmosphere, I think it's about 5 minutes, if that.
Right. But my point still stands. Yes, it's the tortoise and the hare sort of thing. the Pegasus can jump X distance instantaneously. And yeah, you then have to wait for the White Star to catch up with you. Now, we don't know how long it's going to take the White Star to go across hyperspace. I haven't done the research into the figures of how quickly the White Star can travel between 2 points. But my point is, you have to then I mean, it's multiple days in some instances, isn't it? Because they have those reclining beds on the White Stars.
Yeah, because they actually don't. They're moving slowly as to not be detected. But I don't get your point.
My point is, there are instances when they are traveling between points in Babylon 5 where it takes them days to get there in hyperspace. It's like they've entered a jump gate sort of thing. It's going to take us X number of days to get to point.
Right. Okay. This is just going to go on because this. And
One eternity later.
Across galactic distances. Suck on it.
Yeah, our problem here is it's a basically slow ship that can occasionally go very fast indeed.
Yeah.
Off.
How do we rate that? Well, I think we have to go with a 5 just because it's in the middle. It's not on tap.
Yeah. I'll tell you what then. I'll compromise because it's not all the time. Basically, I would say a 7. Now the reason I'm saying a 7, is I'm capitulating to you a little bit there, Andy.
Right.
I'm giving you your instantaneous jump. Right. However, I'm now thinking, well, okay, if an instantaneous jump from one place to another gives you a high score, fine. Mm-hmm. But obviously it's hindered. Now there are other ships which will do that instantaneous appearing, yeah? Mm-hmm. The blue box that shall not be named is obviously
yes,
one.
We dare not invoke its name for fear of it appearing.
Yeah, exactly. However, I think if we go for 7, you get a nice high score, and we've got a little bit of wiggle room between instantaneous travel. I mean, for example, the fucking Event Horizon.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, it just goes pop and it just disappears and pop and comes back. The fact that it got lost on the way is something we can argue another time. But the fact is, it does it, and
it is the same fundamental system as we understand it that Galactic uses. Actually, maybe it's more Babylon 5 because when you see that wormhole-y sort of thing open underneath it, it travels into that, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, obviously, it gets stuck somewhere. But I mean, like you said, we'll save that for the Event Horizon episode, and whichever poor bastard gets that ship.
Yeah. But we're all going to be in a hurry to defend that one, aren't we?
Exactly. But the fact of the matter is, the idea was it fell through a hole and just immediately appeared the other side. So but it had no distance maximum.
Yeah.
So that in theory should be faster than the.
Yeah. If there's no distance or what we understand it to be, recycling thingy, then it should be a higher score.
Okay, so then we need, like I say, we need to have a sort of balance somewhere we can move to.
Yeah, but again, I would say that you pitch an 8 for the Pegasus, which is the instantaneous one, and then when you got your 9s and your 10s, that's when you have ones which are not limited by anything like that. That's when you have the ones which can traverse universes in an instant and go time and space and stuff like that.
Well, it's certainly 10s, but I mean.
I think if we take the example of size sort of thing, let's just say the TARDIS is going to get 10. Okay, when we get around to the TARDIS or whatever, it's just going to get a 10.
Spoilers.
If we arrive. Spoiler alert. And potentially, we could probably argue the point about any time machines if we decide to do time machines in this, sort of thing. If it can travel through time, you can get there before you left, sort of thing. That's fine. That's 10. 9 is going to be anything which can instantaneous point to point with no limitations. You can literally one side of a galaxy to the other in an instant, then go back again and grab your cat, which you forgot, and then go back again, and then realise, oh, fuck, I don't want to be here anyway, and just go back.
The heart of gold.
Exactly, your hearts of gold and stuff like that. Turning into bloody petunias and whales notwithstanding.
Yeah, well, that would take points off. I think this is where we're heading to, isn't it? We're taking points off here for the limitations of the instantaneous
and that's why I'm saying an 8, because I think...
I think that 33-minute recharge is a biggie, personally.
There are ships and there's examples of weapons. Let's say the Death Star. That takes an entire day to recharge its laser. Mm-hmm. An entire day. 33 minutes in the grand scheme of it.
But its laser is not its only weapon. But let's go by the by on that one.
Yeah.
That's an argument for another time.
That's an argument we'll have on another day. I am saying an 8 because I think, with the exception of those restrictions, the Pegasus is the fastest thing at all. 33 minutes in the grand scheme of things is literally fuck all.
If you're being attacked, it's all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Yes, but as we've seen both...
Whereas if you had an X-Wing, you just floor it and get the feck out of there. So
Up until the point they pull out an interdictor and pull you out of hyperspace.
No, that's
even not counting hyperspace, just fly fast.
Yeah.
Which, let's face it, the
And
Battlestar.
interdictors are now canon because they're in Rebels.
yeah, it's true. I stopped myself. The Medcalf defense from episode 0.
Let's not start canon wars, please.
Okay. Okay. I'll tell you what. Let's. Okay. Right. I give up. Let's give it the 8 and see where we go. Yep. Let's give it the 8 and see where we go with this.
Fucking over the rest of it.
No, because I think what's going to happen at some point is we're going to all trip up on all of our scores and everything's going to just come to a grinding halt and we're going to have to start rethinking some of this stuff.
This is. I don't know if House of Cards or Jenga is the best way to describe this. I say Jenga because each time we award a ship a point, we're taking a block out of it
From somewhere.
from somewhere, and one day we're going to pull something out, and it's all going to come down on top of us.
Yeah. I mean, I personally would have said 7.
I would have been happier with 7, personally.
Well, you see, the thing is, and again, I don't want to doff me cap or to thingy, but there's a ship coming up later on which it does a similar sort of system, has been mentioned a couple of times. And that, I think, is more of a 7 because it does the FTL, but then it has to travel through the thing to get to wherever, sort of thing.
Okay. Look, fuck it. Give him the 8. Give him the 8. You won't shut up unless he gives him the 8. We're 40 minutes in.
We haven't got past the first ship.
We haven't gone past the second category on the first ship. All right.
Give him the fucking 8. Go on, you got the 8. Go on, shut up.
I've got my 8. So what are we to now? Firepower.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, yeah?
Oh, for God's sakes.
Oh, for God's sake.
Here we go.
You know what? For firepower, I'm thinking a 7. And the reason I'm saying a 7 is it's got the heavy primary battery sort of things. That thing can take down a base star in a couple of good shots if it's not expecting it. It has nuclear weapons on board. And as we've established from previous ones, if you're carrying nuclear weapons capable of destroying a city, you're in that sort of 7 ballpark.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'd ask for a 7 for firepower.
Fine.
Yep, no argument from me there. Yeah, absolutely no problem there because that's the Phoenix. That's exactly what the Phoenix got as well.
For defense and defense capabilities, I'm going to say for a 4. She doesn't have any shields, but she's armored to fuck. I mean, she takes nuclear weapon hits and all this sort of thing. She's got the point defense systems to shoot down other bits and pieces like that.
She doesn't have any shields. Let's put it that way.
No, there's no shields, but
So
that's
we're
what
only just short of that, so fair enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well we're doing well.
There you go. See,
On a run now.
we're powering through these ones.
Yeah. We're in trouble now, I think. Though.
Oh dear.
All right, so all right. Next up, I'm going to do realization next.
Okay.
Oh, you're jumping.
Yeah, good plan. Let's carry on while we've got momentum.
Realization sort of thing. I think the ship is fantastically well realized. It pays homage to both the original series Battlestars and to the design aesthetic they established in Ron Moore's universe sort of thing. And again, it's very well thought out in terms of the harder angles to represent, the different sort of mentality of a ship, the harder edge. Interiors, something we have spoken about incorporating here. And I think the interiors are, again, extremely well realized. Again, very different from Galactica, very clean. I love those multiple opening doors you got on the bridge.
By your own admission, they're actually from the Proteus 2 from the Lost in Space pilot.
No, the sets were, but the doors and all that were built for Galactica and stuff like that.
Okay.
It was all they got from the thing was the sets from the sound stages, basically.
Okay,
that was it. The other bits and pieces were separate, but it's well realized. I like the concepts of the 4 landing pods with the inverted ones, which is something a bit different, and it's a kind of cool shot you get in Razor when the Raptor's coming in, sort of thing, and it does the quarter ball and inverts and lands top of there. She's a beast of a ship, hence the nickname the Beast. You got a beautiful sense of scale, with all the little running lights down along the side, which you don't really get with the Galactica. The Galactica's just this kind of amorphous
lob
shape going on there. And yeah, so for realization, I think I'd like to ask for. I'm going to ask for an 8.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
it's fairly flawless in realization.
I was going to say I had a 4K render from Lee Stringer from Fabio on this. Yeah, I had it on my desktop for yonks. I mean, yeah, it is a flawless looking thing. I will go. I think 8's fine.
I personally much prefer the look of the Pegasus to the Galactica in the new series. And when Lee hears this, he will fucking kill me for that. But it's just, I think it's truer to the original Battlestar in the way it looks. It's more homage and all that sort of thing. Which brings us to the final category for this one, the cool factor.
Yeah.
And I'm sensing a bit of a theme here with me tonight. I'm going to ask for an 8 for the Pegasus because the Pegasus is fucking cool. This thing comes out, and again, opening scene of a Pegasus during the Battle of New Caprica sort of thing. You got that long shot where the Galactica disappearing. You get those 2 little primary batteries go through, and then the Pegasus there, all guns are blazing, fucking up shit. It is just fucking cool shit. It
is also fucking ugly, though.
Really, stones and glass houses, old sport.
USS Fugly.
Yeah.
Fugly bollocks.
No, it's not an ugly ship. It is.
It's a very ugly ship.
I tell you, I sit somewhere in the middle on this one. Actually, I mean,
the front end is too big. It's compared to the actual Galactica. I mean, the Galactica's a lot sleeker. It looks. I completely agree, Andrew, with everything you say about it looking harder and meaner, but it also, as a result, looks a lot uglier. So therefore, it's not as cool for me as the actual Galactica is.
I think, again, there's the little design touches. The way the engines were arranged around the back is just really cool. You get those lovely shots as well. It is not ugly. You get those lovely shots where you'd have like the Galactica in the frame, and all of a sudden the Pegasus would jump in behind it and utterly dwarf it. You got a real sense of that's a fucking huge ship. Again, the way when it just disgorges all of its Vipers and when it's taking on the resurrection ship sort of thing, and the Galactica and the Pegasus just circling around that thing, pummeling the hell out of that thing. It is a cool fucking ship. I mean, don't get me wrong. After Admiral Crane went, the crew went to fuck. But when you see that first time in Pegasus, Admiral Kane on the bridge there sort of thing, you're not going to fuck with her. And tell me, Peter, are you really going to tell Michelle Forbes she doesn't have a cool ship?
Low blow. Okay. Low blow.
I give this points just because it's fulfilling its brief of being a vicious bastard of a ship, but it does lose points to me because of its ugliness. There's no two ways about it. So I definitely can't go for an 8.
No, I was going to say the one thing. There's just some angles. This ship looks gorgeous. Absolutely no question at all. I'm looking at loads of pictures of it now. Some of it looks
absolutely. It's that kind of establishing shot. It's like a 3/4 off the bow.
Yeah. However, there are pictures of it where it looks like, and just to use your own words against you a little bit, when you were talking about the X-Bomber way back in episode 0. I say
way back. Yes.
Yeah, back in the mist of time, where you look at it and you go, it's there. But the proportions are wrong.
Yeah.
And it just kind of throws you a bit. I mean, when you see I'm looking at a picture from modelcuttingmat.wordpress, and I'm looking at the Galactica, and the Galactica seems to work from pretty much all angles.
So, tell you what, fire us over on the older Skype. Let's have a look at this thing.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a picture of the Galactica. It's just a model that this guy's cut, okay? So I'm going to copy this image, right? And I'll put this on here. This is the Galactica, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's coming over. Now, while we're doing that, there's a picture of like the Pegasus, which illustrates what I'm talking about. It's not 100% everything, but it tells you all you need to know. And when I'm sort of talking about like it doesn't quite look weird, it looks a bit odd.
Okay.
Now, this is a lot lower. This is a slightly lower angle, but I'm just trying to illustrate a point here. Now, if you look at that, and it just looks bobbly in the wrong places. Do you get what I'm saying? The head just looks
I get
too
what you're
big.
saying. But and I think we've already established in this cast that I've got a thing for those big imposing capital ships.
No,
sort of thing.
absolutely no. But I mean,
Yeah,
I understand capital ships because this is a cool looking capital ship. My
It's just
point,
not a beautiful looking one.
yeah, it's just something. It's the same thing you were saying about.
I'll tell you
the
what,
X-Bomber.
from that picture there, it almost looks like it's got a transforming stage where those top shells come together and it hunkers down.
Yeah.
It's like it can open out, sort of thing.
Exactly. It looks like it looks like it's something. It looks like a bad Photoshop job where someone's cut the middle bit out and brought it all together.
I think it also loses a point for, I mean, people who aren't into BSG. Are they going to recognise this?
Yeah.
I don't think it looks.
I think more people. We got to give more credit to Battlestar Galactica than we think of, just because that was such a cultural phenomenon when that was out.
It hasn't made the lasting impact, though, has it?
I don't know. I mean, we can argue about from a science fiction point of view, but from a dramatic point of view, there's still. I mean, The Expanse. I haven't seen it yet. From everything people are telling me about, the first thing they say, and you've said this yourself, is it's like Battlestar. Yeah, it's that sort of thing. I think a lot of people watch Battlestar Galactica, and I think if you show
They
people
did,
the Pegasus,
definitely, yes, but I don't think it's had the sort of lasting effect that Trek has.
Well, I think it's far too early to say, though, isn't it? It's what Galactica went off the air 2009.
Right. I mean, just to wrap that up before we get into sort of like talking about cultural impact, but I mean, I just sent you one more picture.
Okay, yeah.
And I think this really does nail it home. When you look at the size of that head compared to the little skinny body, it just the proportions are just slightly off. You wanted an 8, yeah?
Yeah.
I'd be happy for a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, I was thinking 6.
I mean, because it only looks good from particular angles, and the rest of the time it looks fucking awkward.
I think there are less
awkward-looking
unpleasant. I think there are less unpleasant angles than there are good angles on the ship.
No, absolutely.
And if you give me the 7, I'll take the 7. But I think that's the thing is, again, the cool factor is always the most subjective one for all of us to do, sort of thing. And for me, there are very few angles on the Pegasus which just don't work. And again,
except for the 2 that I've immediately found.
No, that one, that head-on one, I like that head-on angle. I think that's cool. It looks very sleek, sort of thing.
Sleek.
It's a kind of
Sleek? Really? You compare that to the Galactica? I mean, the Galactica's sleek. This thing's just bloated.
The Galactica is ribbed for her pleasure.
Yeah,
and it's sleek with it.
Anyway, no, I like that first one. I mean, if you could find me a high-res copy of that picture, I'd quite happily stick it on my desktop. That second one, yeah, I get it. That is not a flattering picture of it. But in the Pegasus's defense, in this instance, sort of thing, I don't think that's it looks like it's someone's... it doesn't look like a proper render of the ship, sort of thing. And as we both know, lighting and all that plays a lot into how these things are portrayed.
Absolutely.
But I get what you're saying. The head proportion sort of thing. It's certainly much larger than you have with, say, the Galactica and also with the original Battlestars. I get that point, sort of thing. So if you'll give me the 7, I'll take the 7.
Yeah, you can have it. I won't argue a 7. I won't. I think that's fine.
I thank you, sir.
There you go. So, look. Well, I've been doing.
I think is that everything there?
Yeah, that's everything. I've been doing the adding up. So, are we ready for the score?
Oh yes,
it scored 42 points.
Yeah,
it possesses the answers to life, the universe, and everything.
Apparently,
yes.
Okay, well, there you go. 42 points. Whew. Now, we thought that was bad enough arguing about that. I think we're up for a little bit more.
Hang about. I've got a box of grenades I need to throw into this at some point.
I was going to say, welcome to the first 3-hour episode.
Quite possibly, yes.
Well, I think there's no two ways about it. We've just got to dive into this one, haven't we? It's going to be.
So who's going first? Are you flipping coins or?
No, I think.
I won last time, so I'm going last, aren't I?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, you evil git! You are a man of the cloth as well. Just you evil bastard.
No, Lee, you're fine, because by then he'll have about 4 or 5 more pints.
Okay. All right then. So, the White Star. It's a medium cruiser created for the Interstellar Alliance, or the Army of Light, or the Anglo-Shock, if you prefer. The first White Star, which featured in the TV show Babylon 5, for those who don't know, was developed in secret by the Anglo-Shock under the supervision of Urkesh Naranek, aka Kosh, and a chosen one, Genema, throughout the year 2259. By November, the first batch of 3 prototypes were ready, and although they were scaled-down fighter-sized White Stars, they were essential in testing the viability of adapting Vorlon and Minbari technology. This ship is organic, right off the bat. Let's just say that right now. It's literally a ship that is alive. By January 2260, the first full-scale ship was completed and presented secretly to Captain John Sheridan of Babylon 5. Though due to problems with the warrior caste, the initial crew was composed of the religious caste of the Minbari. Yes, the ship is the newest ship of the young races, and it's the smallest ship which can produce a jump gate. It can just off its own back. It doesn't need any jump sort of gate technology stuff. It has all the features of the Minbari ships, which means it is invisible to most tracking and radar weapons, except for in later episodes of Babylon 5 when the Earth Force developed a new version of the Omega Cruiser, which could then track them.
The Hentai Omega.
Yes, indeed. But anyway, the ship was obviously created by the Vorlons and the Minbari, and the Vorlons had a little thing with their ships, which was actually that not only was it alive, but it also had bioarmor, which could actually reconstruct itself. It also drove itself using gravitational engines, gravimetric engines to be precise, and was it was a cruiser that was actually maneuverable enough to engage fighters. So it could actually take on fighters, despite being a ship that was almost 475 meters in length. The ship has 2 neutron cannons, which are basically like laser cannons, essentially, and some twin fusion cannons. And also, I think in one episode it has the sort of proper laser Ginsu beam thing that most Vorlon ships have as well, though that was not often used at all. The defenses: the ship has magnetic discharge beams and a Vorlon defense system, which means that even though it's kind of like a low-end shield, and the ship itself could maintain a massive amount of punishment, except in the case of heavy bombardment. These ships, even though they were small enough, could actually go toe-to-toe with an Omega-class craft. Wouldn't necessarily survive, but it could do it, and the thing was like a fraction of the size. The ship also contained 4 heavy fighters and had a crew of 50. See if I can find any more extra things. There was over 100 of these ships produced in the end, and between the year of 2259 and 2261, and eventually they went out of service in 2281. Excuse me. In reality, it has, Wiki is a bit funny about this, but it says it also has 1 neutron cannon and 4 twin fusion cannons, so it's all a bit up in the air. This is also down to the fact that obviously the ship changed a little bit between seasons and series. In fact, at one point they built it and it was listed as 200 meters in length until the actual set builders started building extra components and interiors for it. And the guy at Foundation Imaging, who was the art director at the time, created a new size and scale of the ship just to work it all out. And so internally, it is now accurate to the models of the interiors that were built. So the ship had to be 400 and something meters long. Originally, it was created by Ron Thornton of Foundation Imaging, and was based upon a pelican, which apparently looked clumsy but flew beautifully. And so it was also had to hunker down and be organically sort of sweeping wings to look it more predatory. The ship was considered initially to be like a Millennium Falcon type, very cramped and small bridge. But ended up being a larger ship thanks to the original set designs. Yeah, that was down to the art director Tim Earls, who joined in season 4.
I can give you some background there if you want, a little bit.
If you can, that'd be great.
Oh, it's just very briefly, as we kind of touched upon during the Omega episode, the effects for Babylon 5 went from foundation imaging to netted digital through dubious means, shall we say. And Ron Thornton and all of the other guys from who created the ships and had put all that time and thought into why things work in a certain way and why things are done thusly sort of thing weren't involved. And the new ones were very much of a whole, it's as big as it needs to be, it can do what it needs to do sort of thing. They stopped really caring, which is why you never got a sense of the Omegas doing what it was capable of doing. And the same applied with the White Star. At one point, they decided they needed fighters on board. And it was never designed to have fighters. It was never conceived to have fighters. But all of a sudden, it had to have fighters. So it did.
Yeah. A little bit of more statistical data, but this is culled from the abandoned card game. So you'll have to... Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Exactly. No, I can only go by the facts.
I thought figures from the back of the DVD box set was bad. But...
Yeah. No. Well, basically, the card game was developed with Foundation, but then, like I say, it all fell apart because of, shall we say, the dubious means in Season 5. Effectively, it has an unlimited maximum range and carries at least a year's worth of supplies on board. The White Star has enough power to open a jump gate every 10 minutes. So there you go.
Answers that question.
That answers that question. When using its hyperdrive system, it can reach a maximum of 95 light years per hour in real-world travelling time. Which means it can cover the entire galaxy from one end, the furthest end, to the other in about 7 weeks.
Is that sublight or jump speed?
That's jump speed.
Okay, fine. There we go. We have some point of reference for that now.
Yeah, exactly. The White Star, also when it's travelling just in sort of relatively in the atmosphere, it could reach a Mach 12 just casually flying about. It could carry a cargo of 500 tons. It weighed itself 85,000 tons, and cost is unknown.
£4.50.
Yeah, £4.50. Oh, looking down here, by season 5, it had 4 fusion guns, 4 neutron cannons, and 1 quantum gravimetric discharge cannon, which is the Jinsu beam that fires directly forward and cuts everything in half. The only thing that would basically that would be it. With an effective shot range of 187 miles, or 187,000 miles if you're in space. That's it. I think that's about it. It has adaptive hull, sensors, ECM, and a sentient computer,
and a partridge in the pear tree.
So, in short, it's a cruiser that acts like a fighter and is armed like a cruiser.
And flies like a pelican.
And flies like a swooping pelican.
And looks like a plucked turkey.
Oh, give over, you Mister.
They actually say that in the series, dude. There's no
I know. Just low blow using.
I like on the B5 Scrolls site, which is a fantastic behind the scenes reference.
When it
which
works,
will be back soon. People should check it out. There's a picture of a pelican, and the picture is captured: a pelican (open brackets) not a White Star.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, okay then. So let's go for size first. It's 470 meters long. It's half the length of the Pegasus.
So it's a lot more than half. I think the Pegasus was 1,700 meters.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. It's because I was looking on a different site. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a third or like a quarter actually, almost a quarter, just over a quarter.
I'm trying to think, what have we done so far would be kind of comparable in size? What was the X-Bomber? Does anyone remember? I don't remember.
No. I mean, because the X-Bomber was measured in feet, and it was only like 400 feet high or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
this.
need to get the DVDs again.
Yeah. No.
No, don't bother. We don't care that much to invoke the X-bomber again.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, we never talk about the X-bomber, but we do. It's the Dacia Sandero of this film.
It really is.
So, yeah,
I mean, you're kind of in.
I'm looking at a 6. I'm reckoning. I'm looking at possibly a 5 or a 6.
I think 5 seems about right for him. Yeah.
I think in the 5 sort of region, just because again 400 odd meters. I mean, bearing in mind it was originally meant to be half fat and they just upscaled it. They did the J.J. Abrams trick of, fuck it, we'll just make it bigger and no one will notice. You know, those windows on the front are like panoramas now, like big bay windows.
Yeah. Well, exactly. But you can't blame the ship for its.
No, we don't blame the ship for the stupidity of the people building it.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'd be in all sorts of trouble. Yeah. Otherwise, you really would be in trouble.
Yes, I will have my rant about Ardama at some point, but not today.
Not today.
You're all spared, you lucky listeners.
Yeah. So I mean, to be quite honest, it's effectively a couple of meters shy of half a kilometer long. So I would like it to be at least a 6.
So how big's the Defiant? Just out of just purely
in comparison, much smaller. 170 by 134 by 30.
Oh, then I'm happy with a 6. I just wanted to make sure we had somewhere to go, sort of thing, in between, sort of thing. And 6 is, I'm good with that.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
You can have your 6.
Okay. So, next up, speed. Okay, now
round 2, fight.
Round 2. Well, no. Luckily, in this one, we're actually quite lucky because we actually have some actual speed factors. We have some things we can talk about here.
We do.
Yeah, I mean, it pulls 12G flying through a normal atmosphere. It can go 85 light years per hour and travel the entire galaxy in one shot in 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's got to be looking at a 7.
Yeah, actually, I'm quite happy to give you the 7 because we've kind of established that sort of hyperdrive, is there. I mean, I think at some point, and this might be something we look at for episode 3, we're going to have to throw in a maneuverability factor in here because the White Star definitely deserves some acknowledgement on that front, sort of thing. Because again, I'm with you. The Pegasus, it's a fucking trundling along sort of capital ship. This thing, the White Star, would quite literally fly circles around it. So I think something we'll look at in future is.
The things just flip over, don't they?
Yeah.
They do like 180.
But, you got the Newtonian physics, which is I love the way they do that whole flying forward, spin around, and fly, backwards shooting. That's all cool. But that's for episode 3, and I'm happy giving you the 7 for speed.
Yep,
yeah,
I'm happy with that too.
Oh, lovely. Wow, I thought I'd be in for more arguments. Does everyone just want to go home early or something?
I'm running out of beer.
Realization and cool factor, my friend.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yes.
Right, what's the next one? So we got a weaponry. Okay, so
5 out.
So we've got a beam that effectively can stop a shadow ship dead.
It can stop it. It can't destroy. I mean, it takes a while to destroy it, doesn't it? You've got
but
to literally empty your engines and everything into it to do that.
Generally, you get a few of them, don't you, gathering together to destroy a shadow ship.
Yeah, okay. And then, let's put it this way. We've got a ship that's a fraction of the size, and yet somehow he's going toe-to-toe with one of Andy's beloved capital ships.
Size matter not.
So
by your size, do you?
Yes, exactly. So we've got the quantum neutronium.
There are no shields around here, are there?
No.
In terms of the ships it's attacking.
No.
I mean, so essentially we've got this hugely powerful beam that can literally cut through an Omega, but admittedly it would take a couple of shots. But you're still talking about a ship that's a fraction of the size, doing a massive amount of damage, and then on top of that, it's got the usual sort of laser cannon-y type things, which, depending on who you talk to, it's either got 4 or it's got 2, but 2 really powerful ones. So
the other problem you have is in the series quite often they seem to be massively outgunned, but that's just because they keep inventing more and more incredibly powerful ships powered by godlike beings that they're up against.
It's Borg syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very hard to judge this one. I can't help feeling. But what are you going for, sir?
Well, I'm looking at a 7, just simply because it's a thing that can go against things that are well out of it's well overreaching. It's literally the ugly guy going for the hot chick.
Oh, very ugly.
Asking her out on a date, and punching way above his weight.
I'd have gone with plucky underdog, but you know what? I'm not
Ugly
even going to argue
underdog.
that. I'll give you the 7 on that because you're right. It is one of the most powerful younger race ships in all of Babylon 5. So
Nice.
I'm happy to give a 7 on that one.
Okie dokie. Okay, so we're on 7 for that one. Now for defense, we're back into the fact that it's also got fighters on it. We've also got the fact that it's got a hull that needs, like, literally pounding on a single spot to actually damage it.
It has that whole kind of it's that bioskin sort of thing, isn't it? Where it regenerates over.
Yeah. Then it's also got ECM to counteract missiles, and then on top of that, it's got the Minbari anti-stealth system, which basically means that even if someone could shoot at it, they can't lock on it.
Which is all very true, but how many times in the series do these things get, blasted and then they're drifting in space? It seems to happen an awful lot.
Oh yeah, I mean, basically, I don't think any one of them went out and didn't survive more than 2 episodes.
They got through an awful lot of them.
Well, they got through about 150 to be precise, but
Exactly, and that's the problem with when the White Star was first introduced as the single ship, and you had that. The whole was it all of season 3 pretty much. It's running around doing sort of stuff. It's cool because it's this kind of hero ship, and there's a real sense of urgency. And if anything can damage it, that was serious.
It's wolf, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you get to season 4, and it's just like just throw another couple of White Stars.
Yeah. So I think. I mean, I understand what you're saying. It can be beaten by lots of things, but that is the story slowly ramping up the enemies because because you can't have a ship that fucking powerful and then just suddenly say, well, as soon as it's the James Bond of spaceships. As soon as it turns up, you just know that everyone else is dead. So, I mean, for defense, I honestly think it needs a 7.
I'm happy with a 7
because the game did up throughout the series.
It did.
But it also thematically upped because if one of the whole things of Babylon 5 is that the Shadows believed that war drove races to evolve and change, and by the end of season 4 the Omegas have suddenly got hentai tentacles diggling out of them and they can spot the White Stars from a mile off. So
well, I mean, it was like the introduction of the shadow technology or something which allowed them to do all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Bits and pieces there. What, you're asking for a 7, are you?
Yeah. Definitely asking for a 7.
I'm going to give you... I'll save a 7. I personally am saying I'd have been happy with a 6, but you know what? You were kind to me, reluctantly, so I'll go with a 7.
Yeah, see, it all pays off in the end. So, yeah, and also because it's got so many defenses. It's not just like a cloud of bullets or anything like that. It's literally just it can take a hit, it can keep on ticking, and it makes itself really hard to
when the plot demands it's got all it needs.
yeah.
When it's going to be disposable, shit.
Yes, but fortunately, acts of plot don't count, which really does suck for you, Peter.
Yeah, because I was going to say your mobile dustbuster suddenly seems to go from Borg killer to I've just been shot by a Varangi and fallen onto a planet.
Yes.
I tripped over the plug.
Yeah, acts of plot do not count. So
okay.
Let's move on.
Okay, right. So now
realization.
Realization. Now, okay.
Excuse me. Can I just find the bit in episode 1 where you said about how CG is nothing special?
Yeah, no. Absolutely, I can. I guarantee you, I'm not making the CG excuse because it has that horrible CG thing of looking too colourful and just going too wild and crazy.
It also, I mean, I just personally, I always found that you've got those blocky bits under the nose section
that look like engines poking through the skin.
Yeah, but it's just they were so thematically
wrong.
Yeah, it just I like the sense of that open section sort of thing, but I think they could have done a much better job because you don't even see that sort of stuff on Minbari ships. So it was just like some human designers got in there, and we know they love the bricks.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, what I was going to say was for the realization of this thing. Mm-hmm. The one thing I would say, and this is the only thing I'm going to say and use the CGI argument,
okay,
is that pulling those back in the day, pulling those kind of complex curves and sweeping wings and everything's interlocked and everything's kind of blended together. Whether or not it looks particularly nice is another matter, but blended together was and to some degree still is rather difficult to do. So just the actual act of pulling that ship off and not making it look like basically someone's first year 3D project was quite a feat, I think. And while I'm not going to fall back on the laurels of saying, oh yeah, it's just CGI, blah, 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 I think it deserves at least a 6. At least.
Now, I'm going to invoke the interior clause here slightly, because we spoke about it with Pegasus, and we know that at some point the Nostromo is coming up, so that will do it. The interiors in this thing suck. So
well, the interiors on all of Babylon 5
and not only
suck.
that, they don't relate to the exterior, and we know this is because of the size issues where they were changing all that sort of thing. But there's no relation between what's going on inside the ship and outside the ship. You want what, a 6?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be pitching at a 4 for realization.
Oh, give over. Give the fuck over.
Very early CGI, very ropey. Yeah,
Okay.
I think a 4.
No, I'm not accepting that. I'm sorry. I can't accept that a man who presents me with a ship from Babylon 5, which also seems to be from the Tonka Toy school of, oh look, I've got a big red button on a big grey slab, can then turn around and tell me that from his realization request of 8, despite the fact his ship had one texture slathered all over it, like which is that now suddenly wants to turn around and say that mine's a 4. God, fucked.
Oh, okay. Well, firstly, the Omega, as I mentioned, was something different sort of thing. There was movement in the model novice. But we're not talking about the Omega. We're talking about the White Star.
But we are talking about looking different. We are talking about execution. And you suddenly went from one thing that looked like a bunch of boxes and another bunch of boxes flying around it, and that was an 8, to something that's actually organic in shape, really difficult to pull off at the same time. I mean, anyone could build a fucking Omega out, as we said.
Anyone could build a fucking White Star.
Now
and
they can.
do.
Now
repeatedly.
they can. Now they can. Not back then.
Back in the day. And I quote, almost verbatim, you and I were both a member of a CG forum where they were knocking them out every 5 minutes as I recall.
Omegas. We were talking about Omegas, remember?
They were still doing it with White Stars.
Well, yeah. Did it look anywhere near as good?
Yes.
Get out of it. Get out of it. Seriously.
There were tutorials for that like 2 minutes after that thing came out on how to build the thing. It was a rite of passage. When you got Lightwave, you made your Constellation, your Constitution class Enterprise, then you made your White Star.
I'm not going beyond 5. That's my last offer.
No way. I'm not having that. No. I'm sorry.
I'll see the difference and I'll give you the 6.
Ooh. That's generous.
Or we can go for our 3-hour cast because I'll stay here all night if you want.
You're the one editing it. It's not my problem.
Don't bother me the slightest, mate.
I mean, no. I mean, I honestly think. I mean, I understand the interior rule now and all that kind of thing, and so I do have to relent on that to a certain degree. But
it's not just that, really. Seriously, the CGI looks shonky,
and it's not. It doesn't have continuity throughout. Again, realization. They changed the rules into themselves as it went on. As you said yourself, they don't even know how many guns this thing has. They suddenly turned around and said, you know what, we could really do with an extra gun here. Let's just say it's got it.
I'll take the fucking 6. Not happy, though.
Oh, then you're really going to love a cool factor, then, aren't you?
Yeah. Good luck with this one.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I have to say that even I can't say that this is a cool looking ship. It just isn't. It's. But what I will say, yeah. We'll get around.
Pelicans do not sound like that.
It's a chicken. It's a fucking plucked chicken.
Don't worry, Pete. We're getting around to your dustbuster soon enough.
Yeah, I'd rather dustbuster than this bloody plucked bird any day.
Well, all I was going to say was that for all of its weirdness, I think that gives it one of those. There's a sort of thing with certain ships. And this just bear with me for a second here on this one. That there are certain ships where you look at them and you think that's just ugly, and in fact their ugliness it eventually becomes an endearing trait. Now, use Pete as example. He uses the X-Bomber, and he thinks it's a lovely looking ship, where we're seeing X-Wing with some Lego bits stuck on the front. And and I love the look of the Nostromo, but it's easily argued that from the top it looks like a big swollen dildo with some engines on the side. It's a fug ugly ship. And similarly, you, Mr. Palastides, took the Omega craft and went, that's a beautiful looking ship. And the Omega is quite clearly just a hexagonal thing extruded out for nearly a kilometre and a half. Sometimes there is beauty in ugliness and things that are ugly and you accept they're ugly, but there's something about them you just go, that's actually still quite cool. And tell me that I know you're all going to go pluck chicken and just ignore me, but I will say that an organic looking ship, firstly, is something we hadn't seen a lot of. Babylon 5 was kind of one of those things that just pulled that out of the bag. Oh, sure, by the end of Babylon 5, we had Farscape and Moya, which looks like a fucking clove of garlic, and all that kind of crap. But these ships truly strove to be something different, and there's something cool about that. And that's what I'll say for the White Star. And while I'm not going to insult your intelligence and go for like a massive figure, I'm for sure pushing for a 6.
Would you like to do a rebuttal, Peter, or shall I?
I mean, I can't think of many uglier ships than this. I really can't.
You're about
That's
to
my
present
problem.
one.
No, really. I mean, and of course, this is our part of our problem with scoring this, isn't it? Because it's all down to personal taste, and this really offends my personal taste.
It was my least favourite ship on Babylon. Okay, I'll tell you what. Season 3 White Star I really liked because it was consistent, it made sense, and it was a one-off. It was something special. That was cool. It was just one-off kind of experimental thing. And then in Season 4, it literally became the red shirts of Babylon 5. If you were into White Star, you were going to die. It was just going to happen.
But that's narratively just upping the stakes. That's not the fault of the ship's look.
Yes, but it does affect on how it is perceived and
it's cool.
And how it's thought of, sort of thing. It's again, I mean, I want to keep my powder dry to a certain extent here, but when the Defiant first showed up, that was kind of interesting. That was kind of cool, and then you're getting the sacrifice of angels and all this, and all of a sudden it's just like ship magic. There's another one. That to me affects its coolness, sort of thing. I mean, and again, saying organic ships, you're right. Babylon 5 did organic ships beautifully. I love the Minbari Charlene class, that kind of massive angel fish in space.
Yeah.
I love the Vorlon ship sort of thing, the petals, and we all love the shadows.
Yeah.
Of all the organic ships throughout all of Babylon 5, the White Star is by far the ugliest and just the It's the bastard child. It's the runt. It's the one that the Vorlons look at it and just go, "You go and play with a Minbari over there." We're no.
So what are you two offering as an option? Because I still think 6. I'm hearing you. I'm not listening to you.
I'd give you a 5. And that is a pity 5.
Ooh.
A pity 5.
Yes, I'll give you a pity 5.
The highest I could go was 4, so that averages out as a 5, doesn't it? Oh dear.
I'll take it.
It's ugly.
Right. Well, there you go. The scores are in, and the White Star scores 38.
Well, that's still pretty good going, in terms of... I think that Pegasus notwithstanding, that's at the top of the leaderboard right now.
Yes.
So that's not bad. And both me and Peter gave that a proper kicking. So you came out that well regardless of that.
Yeah. I thought...
golf clap, sir. Golf clap.
Yes, golf clap. Yes.
Thank you.
Well defended, sir.
Thank you. I really...
It is worthy of song.
They will sing songs. Maybe today is a good day to die.
Oh, no, that comes up next.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so here
Shall we do this?
With 2 ships out the way, now it's time for the really exciting ship.
The USS Dustbuster.
Yes. Dyson, it plugs onto a wall, it plugs onto a space station, and now it's going to plug into your ears with Peter telling you all about it.
Thanks, guys. Build me up, why don't you? So the USS Defiant, then. I've been very good, I think, in waiting this long to promote my other podcast.
Yeah.
But as we've just hit the Search Parts 1 and 2, which is the opening of Deep Space Nine's third season, and introduces a certain USS Defiant, NX 74205. I thought it's probably about time I covered it. NX, of course, because it's an experimental ship, first of the Defiant class, originally designed in a response to the pasting the Federation took at the hands of the Borg, the Battle of Wolf 359. This is Starfleet's first out-and-out warship. It has minimal science facilities, as it's built to fight. Pressed into service by DS9 in order to combat the Dominion, arguably Trek's best bad guys, on the basis Voyager new to the Borg to the point of ridicule. A unique design for Federation vessels, no exterior warp nacelles, and built to be a heavily armoured gun platform. Commanded by Commander, later Captain Benjamin Sisko, this baby has a maximum crew complement of 92, though she rarely sailed with as many, and unusually for this era, crew quarters were shared with twin bunks. Space was a premium. Again, it was built for battle, and they were going for the sort of submarine look, basically. She survived the majority of Deep Space Nine's run, including taking part in the defence of Earth from the Borg in First Contact, and just about survived that, despite Worf being at the helm. In Season 7, she was taken out, sadly, though, along with 310 other Starfleet vessels, so she wasn't alone, by a new Breen weapon that rendered enemy ships inoperable by their crew. So definitely at least a point lost under defence for that. She was replaced by another Defiant-class ship, the USS Sao Paulo, which was renamed Defiant. Now, arguably, of course, she should have been renamed Defiant 74205A, but the showmakers didn't want to redo their stock footage effects of the ship. Lazy, lazy bastards.
Shouldn't have had EA at all, but that's a different argument. I hate that so much.
That's the thing they established, okay, with the Enterprise. So that's
after the Enterprise saved the planet Earth. It was a one-off. It was an acknowledgement that the crew of the Enterprise was special. now any old ship gets a bloody A attached to a bloody thing. Cool. I made it back to the shops without spilling the Coke. Oh, there you go. Have a Defiant A.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm saying nothing.
In terms of the series, she didn't quite last it out, but ultimately she was always, for me, one of the most fascinating things about Deep Space Nine. I mean, I enjoyed the series up to that point, but once they got the Defiant, the series really took off. Because
they could go places.
Exactly. And, well, they could before, of course, but they were very much doing it in the equivalent of a camper van, which was the little runabouts, whereas this was a proper spaceship. Spaceship! And I love the fact that they achieved that balance between a ship that fitted in with the Federation ethos, but at the same time was very different to what had gone before. So, gone are the external warp nacelles, that's all brought in to the actual ship itself, and everything is compacted down, but nevertheless it's still recognisably Federation. So, in terms of the internal sets, as per usual with Trek, they were all very luxuriously outfitted with carpets and whatnot. But the bridge was one of the first, not the first, but one of the first to show the combined Colonops stations at the front. And again, it's that whole thing about being submarine-like, being sort of a lot more, unlike the Enterprise D, which was kind of a lounge that they were able to relax in on the bridge. This is very much, built for battle, and a lot more tense as a result. Okay, do you want to throw some figures at this?
Go for it.
Speed. Well, I've got this. Warp 9.2. She's also designed to be very manoeuvrable for combat. Arguably not as manoeuvrable as your White Star. It can't do that weird 180-degree thing. At least it never did.
Damn Newtonian physics.
Yes, but nevertheless did dodge about quite a bit, particularly in later seasons when they switched over to CGI. So I'm going for an 8 for this, but the whole speed thing's been thrown out into a cocked hat.
I was going to say, we're size first, aren't we, sir?
Size. Do you want to do size first?
Well, size is kind of set in stone.
Yes, this is true. It's a tiny wee thing in comparison to some of the stuff we've covered. Only 4 decks, although there is a Deck 5 mentioned in dialogue from time to time, but it doesn't feature on-
Is that like Grey 17?
It's basically, yes. It's clearly a deck between decks or something. Very odd. It's the attic. Or the cellar. Yes, the Deck 5 mentions are generally considered to be continuity gaffes, so we'll move on. It's only, as I think I mentioned earlier, 170 by 134 by 30 metres, give or take. So therefore, I don't think we can go for a particularly high score for this one. I'm humbly suggesting a 3.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I mean,
It's clearly not a one-man fighter, but it's
No.
clearly not very big.
I think you're selling yourself a little bit short. I'd have given
I
you
would
the
have
4.
Yeah, I would have said 4.
Yeah, I'll give you the 4.
Okay, I'm happy for a 4. Thank you.
Because didn't we do 2 or 3 for Thunderbird 3?
Thunderbird 3 got a 3.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's got to have a 4 then. It's
Yeah,
slightly.
it's
Yes.
definitely bigger than that.
But yes, I think episode 0 scores at this point were largely prototyping.
Yes, I think so.
From out of our asses, yes.
Yes.
So back to the speed then.
now you're on speed. So now
Yeah.
round 3, fight.
Yeah.
What do we do about this?
Well,
Clearly, warp is bloody fast. It's not instantaneous, I'll grant you, but it's up towards the end of the warp scale, which, ignoring all good things, it definitely just goes up to 10.
well, so Lee, the Defiant took what 7 weeks to cross the galaxy, yeah?
The White Star would take 8 weeks to cross the entire galaxy.
Whereas Voyager took 70 years to go halfway.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it actually only went 70,000 light years, which isn't even a quarter of the way.
Yes, and it didn't even do that in the end. But thank God,
No.
because I don't think I could have stood another 7 years in that fucking show.
Oh, don't get us started on Voyager.
Yes.
I'm looking up. Right, the Milky Way
Yes.
is 100,000 light years across.
It's big, really big. I mean, you might think walking down to your shops is a long way, but
Yeah.
that's nothing compared to space.
So 70,000 light years was quite a distance. And it took how many years to do that? 7 years?
70, I think. Yeah.
70 years. It would take 70 years at warp 9 to get.
If it could stay at warp 9 the entire time, which it couldn't.
Yeah, so warp 9 is essentially, it's essentially 1,000 light years per year.
I actually think there are numbers on speed for warp on Memory Alpha or something like that.
Yeah.
Let me have a quick look.
Yeah,
I have
okay.
warp speeds.
Okay, it's actually distance traveled in 24 hours at warp 9 is 4 light years at warp 9.
That all?
Yes.
That seems...
It's 1,516 times the speed of light.
Like I said, really big.
Yeah.
Like really, really big.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, knowing that the White Star can go from one end to the other in 8 weeks, and we gave that, 7?
We gave that 7, yeah.
I think warp 9 is going to be like, well, it's got to be a fraction of that, really, isn't it? It's basically got to be the first end of the light speed scale, isn't it?
I think we're going to definitely, before the next cast, incorporate some sort of maneuverability thing into it to account for that. But I think, as you say, it's got to be about a 5 then, because it's let's say a 6. Let's say 5 is just light speed, so you're going faster than the speed of light, but it's fuck all. And 6 is you're going faster than that.
Yeah. Yeah, 1500 C. I mean, that's...
Can I introduce an element of cheat here?
Go on in.
Try.
Because of course, where is the Defiant usually?
If you say the
stationed?
wormhole, I am going to...
Because you could travel all the way to the Gamma Quadrant instantaneously.
Is it part of the Defiant?
No, okay,
Is it? No.
I tried.
See, Andy, this was the shit you started off with. You started doing your point-to-point bollocks. It travelled.
Yeah.
It travelled the whole distance. It did it in a few seconds.
Yeah.
If the Defiant could spawn that wormhole wherever it was, absolutely. But it can't. It's like a jump gate in Babylon 5. So
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm not jumping in to defend it. I'm just saying that this is the kind of shit you let Pandora's box open.
No, because it's not part of the Defiant. It can use it, but it's not part of it. I could throw my shoe through the wormhole and it would get to the other side. Doesn't mean my shoe is equipped with a wormhole.
It's amazingly, he seems to be saying all those arguments we were saying right at the beginning of the cast, wasn't he?
I think I'd rather be doing this cast with bloody James May and Clarkson at this point.
Well, don't worry, you pretty much are. So, yeah, I think
the problem with giving it a 6 is there are much earlier ships in Star Trek that can do warp, but they'll do warp 4. I mean, you look at the original Enterprise and things like that. How are you going to grade that? I mean, this is clearly faster than that if it's doing warp 9.2.
Well, unless we bring the light speed threshold down from 5 to something like 3 or 4.
Oh God!
Oh.
Suddenly, I'm getting...
and there goes that brick, and all of a sudden the house of Jenga's going.
the house of Space Dock Jenga. I mean, we might not get to episode 4.
9.2 is fast. Damn it!
Yes, but it's not. Yes, 7 weeks, 70 years. 7 weeks, 70 years. I mean, let's face it. If you're on the White Star, you can sit back and get yourself through all of the X-Files by the time you get to your destination. With the Defiant, you're going to be dead. You just better hope your kids know how to operate the thing, because... You know, I think you've actually taught yourself out of that extra point. I'm saying we go 5.
Oh, for heaven's sake. So what's the original Enterprise then, dude?
Hey, it's 5. I mean, it's slower than the Defiant, but it's not that much slower.
Oh God! Now we're getting into fractions now, aren't we? Oh God!
Ladies and gentlemen, I can almost guarantee that before the next episode, the speed thing is going to be revised. But for now, you're stuck with the system.
Well, hold on. What's this? Oh yeah, here we go. I've got the memory alpha thing now. Here we go. Okay. So, if you were going 9.9, right, which is the speed of the Voyager in the episode Relativity, you could travel 40 light years in 5 days.
It's on a bell curve, isn't it? It's like
you
get to 9, and then you've got 9.2, 9.4, 9.9, and they're all like exponentially.
Yeah, exactly. And like this, if you were doing 9.75 and you wanted to go to a different galaxy, it would take you 2.5 million light. It would take you about 300 years to get to a different galaxy. So, what speed did you say it was going?
9.2.
9.2. Well, well, we got some sort of curve here. It's like 9 on the nose is basically 300 billion kilometers per second, and it would take you could travel about 0.32 of a light year in 20 minutes. 9.9 you can travel like a light year in a second, and then you can do and then 9.975 you're doing 132 light years in a month. To me, it just sounds like no one knows exactly how fast this fucking thing goes.
Well, I think this is a case of fuck it, that'll do sort of thing. When there's no sense of it done to that. I mean, there's going to be slower FTL ship. Well, actually, are there going to be slower FTL ships? I mean, if you're talking FTL, light speed is useless because it's still going to take you hundreds of years to get to the nearest star or anything like that, aren't you? So are we saying that Trek is effectively the bottom end of faster than light stuff? Because it takes you months to get across the Federation. It's taking you decades to get across the galaxy. And a lot of, you look at Star Wars with the Falcon and all that sort of thing. We can assume that can cross the galaxy in a couple of weeks, I mean, hell, you look at Empire sort of thing. It's outside of the galaxy.
Okay, so it's got one of the slower end fast and light systems.
And if we still say that 5 is our FTL sort of speed thing,
you've got to factor in the fact that it's very manoeuvrable.
No, we don't.
Not yet, we don't.
No, we don't, not yet.
Not unless you want to give an extra point to the White Star.
No, we did, didn't we? I mean, what was the White Star in the end? 7?
Yeah. No, the White Star was 7, but that's just based on speed. We will have to come up with a maneuver.
No, I mean, I was factoring in manoeuvrability. I talked about the whole 180-degree thing, yeah?
You talked about it, but
yeah,
I was basing off it took 7 weeks to get across the galaxy.
Yeah. Oh, I think this is where we hear the record scratch, and then we have a little bit of music from Monty Python.
Are we albatrossing this?
I tell you what, I tell you what. For the moment, let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. Give him the maneuverability as well, and I'd say give him a 6.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Pete?
I'll take the 6, I guess.
There's gritted teeth in there. I could hear it.
I thought that was the sound of him sharpening a pair of voodoo dolls, to be honest.
Yeah, suddenly I've got a really sharp pain in my back. Oh dear! I
think the sermon on Sunday is going to be about trusting fools or something, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, on Sunday. When you think all you know is not what everything you know, and when people you trust stab you in the back. Okay, well, I think we're going to have to really rethink all these scores next week. Pete, right, so we've got speed, we got you down to 6.
Mm-hmm.
We're being generous here. We'll give you a 6.
We're giving you a 6. So what's up next? The firepower, I guess, isn't it?
Firepower, yes. We've got...
It's a signature dish.
Sorry?
It's the signature dish of the Defiant.
Right. It's got quad phaser cannons,
yep.
Which debuted with the Defiant class, which is very destructive, but forward-facing only. To back that up, she also came with 3 phaser emitter arrays, covering front and aft. She could also, in an emergency, convert a deflector array into a makeshift phaser bank as well. As well as your standard photon potatoes, as my daughter calls them, bless her. She also packed the new quantum torpedoes with 4 forward and 2 aft launchers. Effectively torpedoes with greater armor piercing. Mm-hmm. Or pissing, alternatively. The pod at the front of the ship was said to be a detachable antimatter warhead in the technical manual, but that was never referenced on screen, so it's probably inadmissible. Yeah. So yes, clearly we're not destroying planets, and we don't have anything here as powerful as the X-Impulse. So I suspect we're looking at around about a 7, I think, for this one.
Interesting. I mean, the one thing that comes to mind, and it's the one thing I will leap in to defend the Defiant with, is it was designed as a Borg killer.
Yep, it's a floating weapons platform.
But we did see how well that worked out.
Yeah, blame Worf.
Yeah. But again, the one thing, again, I will stand and defend it, I will say, is that it did do the White Star thing. It went toe-to-toe with something infinitely more powerful than it and didn't break.
Yep, it survived that one at least.
Yeah. I mean, so, you know, I'm inclined to sort of go with that score that Pete's put forward. I mean, I don't see that as...
It is, by definition, heavily armed. So I think at the very least...
It is what it is known for. And I'll give you the point. But I will make just 2 points prior to that.
Yeah.
When it went up against the Borg, as you say, with an entire fleet, and it survived in the same way you can say that, you know, it wasn't a pile of bits. I mean, they had to beam the crew off because it
lost lights.
It was effectively dead in space. You know, Worf desperately trying to ram things by punching the side of his seat.
Again, Worf.
Yeah, it is Worf. The second one is, correct me if I'm wrong here, if you know, but the quantum torpedo is, at least towards the end of DS9 and later TNG and all that, it is the big gun weapon sort of thing. It's the thing that will fuck you up the most, isn't it?
Yep.
And it's just, you always get, and I know this is down to contrivances of plot and all this, but it was always a case of, you know, it took as many quantum torpedoes as photon torpedoes later on, and, you know, it still just shook the set slightly. Yeah. And I know that is largely a problem with...
I'll be coming on to this in defence as well, by the way.
Okay.
There's a creep that develops, isn't it? As soon as the Federation develops a better weapon, funnily enough, the people they're against develop a better defence against it.
But yeah, so what you were saying, 7 for firepower, was it?
Yeah.
All right, fine. There you go. You can have your 7, sir.
Good man.
I was going to say, I'm just looking up quantum torpedoes. I've seen a load of technical guff that I really don't want to recount.
Yeah.
But
it's just a different colour lens flare, basically, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, no lens effects on After Effects being given a new setting, a new preset. But anyway, yeah. But yes, Yeah, go on. Sorry, carry on. I'm dribbling.
Moving on to defence, as well as your standard shields, she comes equipped with ablative hull armour, which was supposed to enable her to survive rather more of a pounding than perhaps she actually did on screen.
How did that work out for the Defiant again?
Yes, exactly. The USS Defiant also had a cloaking device. Remember, we were going to give bonus points for cloaking devices, folks?
Yeah, that's true.
That's only when someone was trying to justify Thunderbird 3.
Yeah, but you all went for it.
Yeah, exactly. Which, under agreement with the Romulans, was only supposed to be used in the Gamma Quadrant, but they used it in the Alpha Quadrant anyway.
No one's going to tell the Romulans.
It is, by definition, the tough little ship, though quite why she was so easily taken out with the Battle in the Borg in First Contact is a mystery.
Because she'd been there for a lot longer.
So, the whole point is this thing is supposed to be built to be indestructible, yet manages to be destroyed before the end of the series. So it definitely drops a point.
I still think someone just tripped over the power cord.
And amazingly, of course, she sets out with her cloaking device, and almost immediately the Dominion develop an ability to see through the cloaking device. It's like, oh, for feck's sake. Because, your bad guys have got to be, that bit worse.
Yes.
Wasn't there an episode where it got a torpedo stuck in it and then Quark had to defuse?
Yes, that's a fantastic episode, and they're caught in I think it's a gas giant.
Yeah, I remember
sending through it. Yes, I mean it goes through an awful lot. To be fair, this little chip. So how do we quantify this? I guess probably the highest I can ask for is a 7.
Yep, no argument there.
Yeah, I'm happy to give you the 7.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Tough little ship.
Little ship. Okay, I want to jump to realization next.
Yeah.
On the basis, hopefully, this is slightly less controversial. It was originally a top-notch model work, as most of the ships on Star Trek were. The later series did replace it with a CGI model, which isn't too bad, but won't stand up to, unfortunately, watching in Blu-ray. Hence, we won't get any Blu-rays for Deep Space Nine, because they need to do a lot more upscaling work on the effects. But bottom line is, when they use the model particularly, she looks splendid. I think it's flawless model work, so I'm asking for an 8.
Well, we've done it on the other two. We have to acknowledge the interior and the shifting sense of how big is this thing again? 4 decks? 5 decks?
4 decks. Only in dialogue as it mentioned 5 decks.
How many shuttles does this thing now carry?
I think it only has 1 at a time, but it does change halfway through the series because they lost.
And you know what? Just because it pisses me the fuck off. How the hell do you get onto this ship?
Yeah, is it
seriously? When it's docked, Deep Space Nine, it's nose in, and you see them walking through an airlock or whatever.
Yeah,
and then the ship pulls away, and there's no door. There's no port. There's nothing. There's just the deflector.
Well, yeah, because the nose is the deflector, isn't it?
Exactly. So how do you get on?
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I liked the bridge design and all that, but why does the Federation carpet everything?
Because that's what they do. There is a certain amount of continuity with that. At least it's not wooden.
There is that lovely, there's that lovely quote from Quark about how root beer is this fuzzy, disgusting, bubbly thing, and the more you drink it, the more you get used to it. That's the Federation. They take a warship and decide, we'll get down to
allied carpet
allied carpet sort of thing, and we'll just.
I've got one word. I've just got one word about the interior.
Yeah.
Beige.
Oh, so beige.
Beige.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not beige. It's more sort of bluey purple.
What's another word for bluey purple? Oh, wait, beige.
Beige.
No, beige is brown, dude. Beige is your Enterprise D, if anything. It's lovely moody blue and
moody blues.
Moody blues, yeah. It's lighting.
But I'm mostly docking it for things like the interior and the where's the fucking door?
Where's the fucking door?
That had never occurred to me before.
I thought you'd have been all over that. I honestly did. I thought that would be the sort of thing.
No, it's never worried me before.
Oh, well, I hope I've ruined it for you from now on.
No, I don't think so.
It had like a tiny warp core, didn't it, with its the engine room, which I thought was kind of cool.
Lovely.
Yeah, they went to the trouble of doing that, which was cool. And there's that episode where the runabouts shrunk or something like that. It's effectively
Yeah. Well, let's not dwell on the science of that, though.
yes, let's not. But
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I've sent some images over that counteract the beige argument.
Yeah, I was going to say I sent you the ones.
that second one is the second Defiant. That's the,
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? They obviously changed the color scheme as they went along.
so how you know it's a different ship.
Oh, yeah. It's not by the registry number, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Anyway,
that
realization I still stick by is fairly flawless, so I'm going for an 8 still.
I mean, I can't argue it. I'm not. I've got no horse in this race on this one. I think it looks great in terms of how it's put on screen. Even though everything in Deep Space Nine seemed to be covered in Vaseline.
There is one fantastic shot where they mount the camera on the. Was that on the practical model or the CG one?
That was the CG one.
When it's doing the loop and the camera's there and it flies by and all that sort of thing. That is cool. And again, the CG work and ironically enough, the guys doing the CG imaging on the latter half of DS9 were the ones who got fired off of Babylon 5. So, you know what? Yeah, have you, 8.
Thank you kindly. Okay, now we're in trouble.
Yeah. Go on then.
Coolness, distinctiveness. Yes. Okay. On the defensive side, I love the idea of the flying gun platform, and it does look like that. As I say, I love the fact she manages to be a distinctively Federation ship whilst being very different from their other vessels. A nice piece of design work. But I have to admit, on the anti-side, is probably not much recognition of this ship outside of Trek fans. And for some, she's merely a dustbuster. For others, she's a rather exciting attack craft. So I suspect the best I can ask for here is a 6.
5. It looks like a shoe.
At least it doesn't look like a plucked chicken.
Looks like a shoe.
Yeah, I was going to say it's just on the looks factor. It's better than a White Star.
Yep.
It looks like Jimmy Durante's been sellotaped to the front of a frisbee.
And I'll tell you something else. I do kind of like this in my kind of geeky checkered way. All of the elements from Federation ships are there.
Yeah,
in just a weird order. You
just
do
not
have
necessarily in the right order. Yeah,
not in the right order or anything like that. But you do have. It's what you said earlier on, sort of thing. It is instantly identifiable as a Federation ship without looking like anything that's gone before it. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of cool. And again, a lot of the stuff a Defiant does. I'll even go this far. The way it's destroyed, not the whole one shot and it's out.
Yeah.
But when that, you got it drifting through the debris cloud. And it kicks out a couple of the escape pods before that shot, and then it just shatters. And we'd never, with the exception of the Enterprise in
Star Trek 3.
There you go. With the exception of that, you've never really got a sense of ships.
Or possibly the Odyssey, of course, in the Jemadar, which.
But even then,
that was a great death.
There's the damage, but then there's a big explosion.
Yeah, the latest explosion is just overlaid.
You don't get the sense of the remains there, sort of thing. You don't get a sense of that, which was a kind of cool effect. And again,
I can't believe we're scoring this on the basis of how well it dies.
Hey, mate, take the lifeline.
Yes, I will. Believe me.
Take the point. I mean, you wanted a 6. Mm-hmm. If you'd have asked for a 7, I'd have probably been inclined to go down to a 6, or at least argue it. But I'd give you the 6. Yeah.
Is that it? You want to go for a 6? I mean.
That's 2 of us going for a 6.
I guess you get a 6 then, don't you?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, the scores are in. The computer has been wound up, and the result is the Defiant gets 31 points.
Here we go again.
So you seem to be eternally condemned to 31 points forever.
Which means I win. It's bizarre.
If you do it 3 times in a row, do you get like a Yahtzee or something like that?
I think I should. I really do.
No, you get Candyman turn up behind you, don't you? Say something into a mirror enough.
Excuse me, just from the gallery here. Can we double check the abacus here?
Why is that?
Because again, admittedly, I am shit at maths.
Which is about this is your backhanded way of telling me I'm shit at maths.
Yeah, basically. If I could recount the scores here, we gave it a size of 4.
Yep.
Speed of 6.
Yep.
a firepower of 7,
Yep.
defense of 7,
Yep.
a realization of 8,
Mm.
and
Yep.
factor of 6.
Yeah.
I made that as 38.
It is actually. Sorry, I missed the defense. I missed the defense number. Oh shit. 38. So hold on. Am I right in thinking
So wait, the eternal.
So basically, we've gone all around. We've done the eternal fight of death of White Star versus Defiant.
White Star versus Defiant, and the answer is
They're both the same.
It's a good job we decided to go with the winner, wasn't it, this time round?
Fuck's sake.
And I'd like to quote from the Holy Grail of Top Gear: ambitious but rubbish.
Lee, if I could shake your hand over the internet, I would at this point.
I just want to hide in the corner and hug myself. Oh, God.
We couldn't have planned that any better, could we?
We've actually managed to just answer the question of which one's better by saying they're both the fucking same.
Oh God. Oh God.
This truly is the shittest scoring system ever, isn't it?
Oh, it hurts.
Oh, good grief. You couldn't have scripted this better, could you?
No.
But we're doing this on the fly.
Sweet.
There is no more planning going on here, ladies and gentlemen.
As you can tell by the fact they fucking tied. Oh,
Oh,
Christ almighty.
Like we said earlier, highest scoring goes through.
Yeah, highest scoring one goes through. Ambitious, but rubbish. I think I might turn that into Latin and stick that on our
Yes.
logo.
Yeah, I think that should be. So yeah, I think the scoring system will probably undergo some sort of a revamp between now and the next episode.
Do you think?
As a rule, I try not to, but yes, on this instance, I do.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
Yay. Go on.
On the plus side, Peter, you didn't lose this time, so...
No!
Oh.
From the jaws of defeat.
From the jaws of defeat, you pull someone else down with you.
Yes!
I'm going down, I'm taking
scrotum.
I don't know, for God's sakes.
Oh, I bet you missed a black dog now, don't you?
I
okay,
do.
It's 3 hours long, but you need to know what you're getting at the end of it.
Exactly. I just tell everyone to fuck off and then turn the lights out. Jesus Christ.
Wake Darren up and
Yeah, kick him in. Right. Oh, God. Right, well, there you go. That's utterly inconclusive test of...
We can say conclusively that of the White Star and the Defiant, if you have to choose between one of them, go with the Pegasus.
Yes, that's, I think, as best we can say. So,
nothing else.
so congratulations, Andy. Well done getting the Pegasus on the top 10.
Thank you.
I don't think there was much in the way of doubt, but I think it's actually sitting at the very top of the top 10 right now.
At present it is. I mean, we do have to bear in mind at this point the scoring system has gone out of a window, but as it stands, yes.
Yeah, I think the scoring system's definitely going to need a bit of overhaul, but let us worry about that in a fortnight's time. So, before we go, Pete, what are you going to bring next?
Okay, well, we haven't done Star Wars yet, so I think I need to slap down the Executor.
The
Super Destroyer.
Star Destroyer. Nice.
Wow,
Okay.
go big or
Yes.
go home. And they don't come much bigger than that.
Indeed. Unless
Wow.
it's the Death Star.
I'm bringing the Death Star. No. No, actually, I'm gonna bring the Borg cube.
Ooh!
The Borg cube, impressive.
A Borg cube, and
A
not
Borg cube, yes.
as in
That's the one.
as in the Wolf 579
359.
359. Yep. Big, meaty 4x4x4 or 3x3x3.
It's made of shredded wheat, isn't it?
Whatever it's made of, it's gonna take several 35 fucking Federation ships out on the way.
Well, amusingly, I literally have been battling one this evening in attack wing and got my arse handed to me by Mr. Matt Dillon. So,
well, there you
I
go.
was going to say, it's a good thing you said the Wolf 359 one and not one from Voyager, because
Oh yeah.
No,
Paper mache, apparently.
Yeah, I'm very specific about the fact that I don't actually acknowledge Borg in Voyager.
Yes,
I'm talking about classic space zombies of death. Borg.
Mm-hmm.
Borg cube.
So we got Star Destroyer versus the Borg cube. Come on then, Andy. What you thrown in?
Okay. So this is the sound of me pulling the pin out of my grenade
Oh God.
and throwing it into the middle.
Oh God.
I'm going to do, drum roll please, the SSV Normandy 1.
You motherfucker.
Shit's getting real.
I've never hated someone quite as much as I hate you right now.
It's the 1, not the 2. The 1.
Fight.
It's a hard decision.
I've done far worse than kill you, Medcalf. You. And I still go on hurting you. I leave you
Twist that knife.
marooned for all eternity in the kingdom of Hades. Buried alive.
Can't.
Oh yes.
There you go.
Fight for Century next week.
Yeah. Oh, in a fortnight. Remember, we're fortnightly.
Oh, sorry. Fortnightly, yes.
Right, okay, well then, there you go. So, it is the Superstar Destroyer Executor, the Borg Cube, and the SSV Normandy 1.
I will remind you that several individuals have promised to lynch you should the Normandy not fare well. Okay.
So, join us for that one. I'm sure we're going to have a lot more interesting and fascinating discussions.
Nice reason debate. That's what's nice about this. It's all, grounded in respect of the facts.
Yes. And the fact is, right now, I could kill you with my mind, I would.
I got a nosebleed.
So, it just leaves me to say thank you, Andy. Thank you, Pete.
Oh, and thank you, Lee.
Yeah,
yes.
Thank you, yeah. And do join us on our Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/SpaceDocJury. Or on our newly minted Geek Planet Online domain, which is spacedoc.geekplanetonline.com. We don't take feedback, but get involved on the Facebook group, and we
do read it, and we do consider points. And if you make a really good point, we might discuss it.
Yeah, but right now, trying to get us to change our rules while we don't even know what our rules are.
Yeah.
No.
We're too busy arguing amongst ourselves.
Yes. We want it to be an organic evolution, as it were.
Yeah. Not just something ripped straight out of a book.
Our arses.
Our arses.
Don't forget to mention, obviously, iTunes as well.
Oh yes, you can find us on iTunes now. We're definitely on iTunes. You just search for Space Doc, Space Jury. Not Space Doc.
And we'd love reviews and ratings, because that's important, apparently.
Yes, it is. It is indeed. Though after 2 ties in a row, I'm sure we're going to get this scoring shit signed A. Anonymous and 1 star. But anyway. So.
We is the best.
Yeah,
we're special.
Yeah. So, thank you everyone for listening. And yes,
still listening.
If you're still listening, if you haven't thrown your iPod in anger, and
we'll be appearing on insurance claims across the land.
Yeah, Space Doc Jury on bubble.com. It's like damage to your gear. And we'll see you next time for episode 3.
Woohoo!
Yay! We made it to 3. Almost.
Almost, yes.
You think we got it?
I was going to say, I better watch where I walk for the next 2 weeks.
Yes, you better. You better check your drinks as well when I go to the pub. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, tatty bye, everyone.
Sleep well.
Space Doc Jury is a production by 3 Angry Beards for GeekPlanetOnline.com.